not a huge amount of changes on this patch. The Morgana changes with her being buffed in 3 patches in a row, basically, has led to perhaps some talk about her being played in the jungle, or I know you love her top lane.
Oh, I'm a big Morgana guy. I've been on that Morgana train lately, but we do see the Gwen bans, Yunara bans, Trundle ban coming out. Trundle has kind of ascended in the jungle pool. Against all these skirmish-heavy junglers, he's proven to be one of the better ones because he wins all those 1v1s, no matter if that's a Shao, a Vi, a Jarvan. Trundle just chomps them out and does have a lot of control in that river. Matchplay is Seer ban. My eyes are on is the Vice, the popular. The Varus has been a crucial pick in the drafts, usually getting banned there in R3. We're going to see if game 1 Vitality wants to leave it up and available, or if they're going to take that out.
I wouldn't be surprised by Varus ban at all. Like, it's just so strong at the moment that it gets lane prio, it's good later on. You can go on hit if you need to get rid of tankier players on the enemy team, or you can just go for that poke style. The last ban will be currently not shown. There's the Sejuani. So Varus available, Sion immediately locked for Heretics.
I mean, this just tells me that Heretics has had a long time to prepare, right? And they had a lot of time to practice during the break week, and I feel like this speaks to me that they've really been finessing their swaps. Because I feel like Sion is the prime swapper as a top laner, and you can kind of get your AD carry through that laning phase. You can go for like a hyper carry that doesn't really excel in the laning phase, like the Jinxes, the Aphelioses, anything that kind of wants to get to those 2 free items. You can kind of use the Sion as a swap to kind of get through those early levels. But we have seen Sheo on these AP junglers to meddling success. I feel like when I see Sheo, I love him on the Sejuani and Maokai. I feel like he just makes the game really simple for his team, but with the Sion, you had the opportunity to go for something a little bit more selfish in the jungle. Syra, Brand, Lilia, all these champions, something I relate to Sheo.
It's also quite a few champions we saw him playing back on BDS when they were experimenting with their playstyle, going from just the scaling into those more AP-heavy junglers. The Karthus and the Lilia really came to the fore. Then instead, the Nocturne locked in for Heretics. Love this alongside something like an Orianna. Even with the Sion, you've got the Unstoppable Onslaught coming in. Paranoia on top of that makes it really hard for the enemy team to actually find out where you're going. Alongside that, you can already see Vitality looking for a bit of a dive comp. The Rumble Equalizer, the Rakan going in with the quickness, Nocturne turning off the lights makes it really hard for you to get on that backline.
Yeah, and I feel like now you could draft full appeal into that, but I feel like they're doing the same thing in Heretics. They have the Nocturne Orianna combo, as you highlighted, the G2 Classic at the middling success, but they securing that Orianna early will have a lot of lane push, will really help Nocturne, because Nocturne really wants to farm. So I think Nocturne really appreciates when the lanes are stable. He doesn't want a lot of fighting in the lanes. He doesn't want to have to come gank or help them early game. He just wants to be able to have them be self-sufficient, get that level 6 spike, and then fight for especially those first dragons and those first grubs. As we see the Xayah, really good against the dive, really good against Nocturne Orianna, can escape that combo with the ult. I think one of the only AD characters that can kind of get out of that combo.
Yeah, the ability just to jump up in the air and become untargetable, because even if you dash, the Nocturne can follow you through that dash, making it really hard for you actually to escape it, unless you are a really good player and just flash out of the combo like we saw G2 fall foul of many times back a couple of worlds ago. Ziggs banned away here by Vitality. They're going to get rid of some of those easier AP push lane, you know, just walk out of bot lane picks. And Heretics, where are you going to look for your bans? You could go towards the jungle, but jungle's a really hard pool to pinch at the moment. They will get rid of the Wukongs, get rid of some more of that dive. Vi could follow a similar path.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Vi Wukong are the classic combos with the Rumble, with the Rakan. Makes it so easy to follow up on that engage. Give them something like a Shao, which can do the same thing, but doesn't need that 3 Talon strike setup. Not as quite as easy as the Vi or Wukong. As there, we see the Varus burner come out a little bit later, went for the draw. Seems like the priority wasn't as high this series as we've seen throughout the split.
I mean, it can also be a preparation thing. Like game 1, we don't want to pick Varus into a Sion, because do you really want to have to try and on-hit your way through a Sion? And then Heretics like, well, we already know we want Sion, Nocturne, Orianna first rotation, so then the Varus gets left up at the second rotation, means it gets banned away. Prio can still be high on it, just not as high for the first draft as we have seen it around the world. With the Pantheon banned away, that does mean Vi still available for Heretics. Galio there to mitigate some of that pressure the Vi can put on.
I would love something like a Kaisa here for Flakked. I feel like he wants to either dive with his team or get out of the dive from Vitality that's going to come by. And you also have the Aphelios and Jinx, as we talked about. So this is going to be the Aphelios, that hyper carry that kind of wants to love those swaps. Aphelios special classic pairing. And now the game plan is simple for Heretics. Swap Sion into the bot lane and try to demolish that tower, get Aphelios through the lane, get those grubs. and kind of accelerate the map through good macro play.
And of course, the VI still available for Vitality, not for Heretics that I said. They've already picked their jungler. It would be very interesting to see a Nocturne support. Zhao is where Vitality will go, so they're going to round out their composition with a little bit more dive. The Xin also giving you great area control when it comes to team fights. Heretics, I mean, you look at that bot lane, you're like, okay, we just want to scale. And you already talked about it. That's what Nocturne wants to do. He wants to farm his jungle. Orianna wants to get to 2-3 items so she can really have impactful shockwaves. And Sion's going to scale really well through the game as well. Vitality, on the other hand, look a lot more 2-item spiky to me.
Yeah, I mean, Vitality has great initiative. I feel like the problem with Galio into the Nocturne is that you can't actually ult someone when Nocturne is ulting unless you're right there on top of them. So can be a little bit scary to play this matchup. My eyes are definitely on Stend on this Thresh. I actually watched a carrier montage right before the series for no reason at all. And I got reminded of all those crazy Thresh plays that you can make on the champion when you are on fleek. And someone that has been an outstanding player.
On fleek was a different player, man.
Okay, that's a lot. Oh yeah, I feel like the Thresh just has so many potential plays he can make, and I want to see how Flakked, what am I saying? How Stend pilots this champion coming into this mid game where those hooks become so crucial.
It's a really strong pick just generally at the moment, seeing a lot in solo queue as well. The power of the Lantern just as part of the kit. Doesn't matter how weak Thresh is apart from the Lantern gives you so much agency in the game, especially since you can just zoom in on it and click it even if someone is trying to control ward it out.
Now, it's not that easy to zoom in. People say it's really easy to zoom in.
It's not really easy, but you can do it.
It makes it a little bit easier, but I've been in many like I've had a lot of teammates that are just like, no, it doesn't work. Because it is still kind of tricky finding that angle when people ward on it, but
yeah, it can be a little bit difficult. We'll see how good Flakked is at clicking that Lantern in this game as we jump into game 1 of this best of 5. Winner plays up against the loser of KC and G2. That series will be played on Sunday. And we'll see which of Vitality and Heretics can make their way to
Sion.
the Rift.
Look where he is. He's putting a little ward for his team.
Oh.
Very supportive. What a nice guy.
Sheo gets caught out by Nako, but they both trade damage. Yeah, those wards in the bot bush, really important when you're playing these kind of pseudo-range supports. You don't want to give up control of that middle bush, especially with a Rakan that can jump in, a Thresh that can flay the Rakan out of his engage. There's so many options for both these supports in the 2v2 matchup, and so having some control down towards that bottom side makes a lot of sense. You can see both of them going for the sweeper as well. Stend still has his, whereas Fleshy has used his up towards that top side.
Yeah, so this means that the Stend and Flakked is going to have this control of the lane early, and I feel like this kind of leads into the play that they want to push out bot, look for an early swap, get that Aphelios into the rumble, make life hell for him, and put the Sion into the bot lane duo. I really want to track how they do this, but of course, it's not a simple plan. You got to get those pushes, you got to play your laning phases well to end up in that position, but I feel like they're doing all the steps necessary to get there.
Well, we'll see if they can do it. Both these teams love to play through their early dragons, through those early objectives as well. And we were actually wondering if everyone at home wanted to join in voting, as we see a little bit of a trade happening on who you think is going to take the first Drake in the game. You can type TH if you think it's going to be Heretics, or VIT if you think it's going to be Vitality. The reason we bring it up is because of how much both these teams do like to play around that bot side. And you can see here, Heretics, first dragon, second in the league.
Yeah.
63.6%, whereas Vitality struggling a little bit more through those early game objectives.
Yeah, I mean, these dragons have really been the win condition for Heretics, and I just keep saying it, simplify, simplify, simplify. They make the game easier for themselves. They don't have to make miracles to get that Nexus destroyed. They just have to get those dragons, stack those souls, and get that free combat stat so easy. And I feel like Sheo is kind of the spearhead of the strategy. He's the one that loves this. When he was on BDS, he was doing this on BDS, and without him, BDS is kind of looking lost in this manner. But here he has translated that into the Heretics lineup, and love to see that kind of leadership to bring his playstyle to whichever team he goes to.
Yeah, I think when Heretics succeed, it is Stend and Sheo working really well together in the early game. Some of the highest support jungle proximity before the 14-minute mark in the league. Right now, Sheo just doing his normal farm route down towards this bottom side, as is Lyncas. So we might see the junglers meeting over the first Scuttle Crab. Lyncas, I think, ever so slightly ahead, although he is taking a slightly different route, has now started up his 6th camp. 15 seconds before the Scuttle Crab comes up. Stend taking the aftershock there with the flame means the trade from Flashy isn't too impactful back onto him.
Yeah, looks like Flakked and Stend will push this wave out and probably look to help their jungler get that crab. Might see Lyncas go into the other side, but Lyncas really wants this, but might be a little bit of an altercation here.
I think Lyncas is going to have this.
Yeah, he's just way faster.
Yeah, the Vitality bot lane as well moved just as the wave was about to crash down towards their bottom lane. You can see Flakked and Stend walking back here to make sure it crashes in, but because they moved before the wave was crashing, it was actually pretty easy for Lyncas to make sure that he had secured that. Czajek with a ward across towards the Razorbeak, so we'll spot out Sheo, who uses the Scryer's Bloom to take it off the map.
Yeah, Lyncas really ahead in tempo here, already based, walking out for that topside crab. Actually, you see Sheo doing, Sheo did actually Raptor spawn, so his Raptors will be up now again, and he's doing the extended full clear. Probably going to do Raptors into Skrugs and then base, unless he wants to contest his top crab.
Well, he only just finished his Krugs, right? So it's Raptors into topside possibly.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
There's going to be a little bit of time before it comes up. You can see
down here, though.
Czajek coming across. It will be a very difficult trade. Czajek is here. Sheo stepping in. Kamiloo's going to face check, steps back, but is hit with the Justice Punch and has to flash. Sheo does get the Scuttle Crab, and in the end, it costs only his mid laner's flash.
Yeah, only. It's not a great trade, I think, but it might be difficult for Kamiloo to play aggressive now, especially when that Rakan gets opened up. That flash taunt by Galio might be detrimental to shut him down. So he's looking quite even. But I guess Sheo is happy. He got the crab, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's not his flash that's being burned.
Yeah,
it's
he's
fine.
chilling, man.
Just play safe, Kamiloo. You don't have to worry about the Rakan or about the Zhao or about an equalizer just being put down in your lane for the slow and the damage. Or Czajek flashing in. Oh, Fleshy's here. What a surprise.
Yeah.
Has been spotted on a ward, so Kamiloo should be able to just step back from this. Stend hovering up towards that top side as well. We talked so much about the power of the Lantern, but the get out of jail free card is exactly that, and that's what Thresh does provide.
Carlsen is such a good guy. He actually held that top wave, so Aphelios will be able to catch it and have a little freeze onto Xayah, sacrificing one wave of his own. That together with the bot side ward, he's really trying to do everything he can to set Flakked up for success this game. We see the swap that we talked about before. Big wave stack here for Aphelios and Thresh. Can they do something with this? I doubt we're going to see a dive.
Yeah, I don't think it would be too good to go for a dive on Rakan and Xayah this early. The Blade Caller, as we see the flash on Czajek in the mid lane. Kamiloo hits 6 first, gets a shockwave, and gets Lyncas' flash out of it. Lyncas thinking Kamiloo might not have survived, but he got taken out by the winds of war.
Rinsed and repeated. Classic strategy. Burn the flash, then come back for the repeat gank. Very simple. Good execution by Vitality. A little bit overzealous for Kamiloo. Didn't really want to concede all of his lane pressure, but you kind of have to in that position. You can't just keep abusing the Galio like you could early game when you don't have that flash. You are so vulnerable to a gank, and really good punish by Vitality, keeping the tempo high of the game.
Yeah, for Heretics now, you need to just try and slow down the mid lane a little bit, because Kamiloo is in still a very vulnerable situation with that flash being still half of its way before coming back off cooldown. Sheo is almost level 6, currently on his Razorbeaks. I think he's just short of getting it from them. Never mind. Things over.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah, I was going to mention the Cull, but you're playing it. He's just farming, man. Like, let the guy farm in peace.
Nako bought a cool on Rumble. That's his confidence, man. He uses, I'm not going to die to a gank.
Coming out.
I have the cool.
He might die to this gank. But he will get 1, 2, 3 minions for the Cull!
Let's go, Nako! Big investment, getting an ROI, the Rumble.
On investments,
yeah.
That's his new skin. just burns the paperwork as he walks in with the
Day Trader Rumble going crazy.
Carzzy and Fleshy, I don't think they know the enemy bot lane's here. They see the Blade Caller come out. Carzzy's going to get played back. There's the knock-up with the Grand Entrance. Stend still holding onto that hook. Carzzy sidesteps it wonderfully and manages to escape Heretics' clutches.
Yeah, wasn't really in danger there. He has to cleanse worst case if that hooks connects. I think they're fine. 2 sums being burnt there from Team Heretics trying to get something.
Oh, Lyncas is here now. Stend flashes away from Fleshy, who can try and dance back, gleaming Quill enough to heal him up. Flakked with good guns for the fight, and Lyncas calls it off.
Yeah, Nocturne is behind him here, but he doesn't have the ultimate, so they don't want to commit to the fight there. Like, Sheo's really happy. They got the flash by Fleshy, and they was able to get out. Sure, a flash trade, support for support, but Stend has that Hex Flash. Not the worst trade in the world. Here, Sheo just wants to do another full clear, get that first item. I assume it's going to be the... What's it called?
Experimental Hexblade?
Experimental Hexblade did get buffed, I think on this patch or the last patch.
I think it was this patch, yeah.
A little bit stronger, good first item for the Nocturne. Really wants to make those side lane picks. Either the Rumble or the Galio will be the targets most likely, because I don't think you're going to go on the side very much.
Really good on Zeri as well, and we have 2 AD carries that do like to play that Zeri. Grub started here by Sheo, was on Vision, as he came through for that Scuttle Crab. Lyncas is looking for a gank towards mid, control wards down though from Kamiloo, who still does not have that flash. Actually on his way across, the quickness available to him, but no flash, only the heal. And it will just be 2 grubs taken by Heretics. They don't need the mites. They are happy with that objective towards the feats of warfare as Nako clears out a control ward from the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, no Dragon Pit taken yet. Should probably go over to Lyncas here. I think he... Because all the time the Nocturne used to take those grubs, now Lyncas has a little bit. He already didn't... Do
you want to see what the chat thinks?
What does this chat think?
Let's see what the chat thinks. Exactly. Oh, never mind. They think Heretics, and that would, in keeping with statistics, be true. But what we have taught you today, chat, is numbers lie to you all the damn time.
Devious.
Oh, hook's gonna land.
Flash on Fleshy, a little
Knock up onto Fleshy as well. He's in a huge amount of danger. He's gonna die. The Dragon, though, will go over to Vitality. 2-1 in kills now for Heretics, but first drag of the game to Vitality.
Yeah. Good trade backs here from Heretics from that first kill on Kamiloo. They're getting 2 in a row now with this Nocturne getting a part of both of them. Really nice for him. Getting that first item accelerated is so important on the Nocturne. Already 400 and 550 gold up now on the Sheo.
I think you could argue greedy positioning from Fleshy as well.
Yeah,
you're going towards the red buff, you don't see the enemy support on the map. Do you need vision there at that moment while your jungler's on Drake?
I mean, in general, it's like a Pike or a Rakan thing. When supports have that mobility, they feel so confident, 100%. Go deep, and they're like, I can get out whenever I want. I can go to the Nexus if I want, they can't catch me, but yeah, that CC will connect, and you are not invulnerable just because you have a dash.
Very true, especially in something like a Thresh that can flay you out of it, that can pull you back out of it. So Heretics will be happy enough with their 600 gold lead early on in this game. As you say, the majority of it sitting on Sheo. Has that experimental Hexplate finished? First completed item in the game, sitting on that Nocturne. He's got the Paranoia. There's a Rift Herald on the top side of the map for him if he wants. At the moment, Vitality looking to make a play down towards the bottom side. Czajek was hovering with the hero's entrance. Lyncas waiting around the corner here, but it looks like much ado about nothing as Vitality won't be able to find the engage.
It's not easy. When Rakan goes for the spellbook, he went for the 3 boots. So right now he's walking around bare feet with the pig is out on the Rift, and it was quite difficult to gap that, make that gap onto the carries without those boots.
So Wolf on the enemy team just threatening to blow him down.
Yeah.
For the moment though, Fleshy, I mean, you do just want to be involved in a bunch of kills early on the Rakan. It's relatively easy to be involved as well because you can just battle dance to a teammate and you get the assist credit for putting that shield down. Yeah. Both the bot lanes just trying to scale up. Cull on Flakked, 28 stacks away from being completed. Nako's 43 away from getting that extra gold infusion.
Yeah, game slows down a little bit. Dragon spawning in 3 minutes. See if we get some action with this next Nocturne ult. He does have the Hexblade as you highlighted. Really wants to use that often, either to get a flash. Like, it's not good to just have your ultimate up and available for a lot of time. You want to use it to burn flashes if you can repeat gank that lane. And I would love to see him involve himself a little bit. Looks like the lanes are quite stable now. Nako pulling the way towards his tower, not wanting to be far up and be a target. Yeah,
Carlsen's struggling a little bit in the matchup, at least in terms of CS. He's about 20 CS down, but that's expected. It's Sion into Rumble. You're never really going to win the lane. You're there to survive and get your passive up as high as possible. Currently sitting on 395 stacks on it, becoming tankier by the millisecond is Carlsen. And this first pick Sion doing exactly what you wanted it to do.
Yeah, I mean, he did give a wave to Flakked with a freeze before, so it makes sense it's a little bit behind. You really want to get that Hollow Radiance where you just one-shot the wave, get that MR, and that's where you really start wave clearing like constantly on the Rumble. Right now, still a little bit tricky. That percentage damage off the Flame Spitter, very dangerous, but he wants to deny this cannon, he wants to tank the Harpoon. We're gonna get it, Nako?
Nope.
-1.
-1, and it's another stack lost to the Cull. Could have been at 22 instead of 23, what a shame. We do love our stacking items in this game as well. We have a Dark Seal on Czajek, who's already finished that first item. Stend and Flakked taking control of the mid lane, knowing that in a minute and a half, the next Drake will spawn, and having your AD carry and support in mid gives you a little bit more pressure. Going to work their way down towards the bottom side. It's Stend just clearing out a control ward around the pit. Actually didn't decide to clear it. Instead realized perhaps he needs to be back, at least at the relative safety of his AD carry, because Lyncas was off the map. Could have quite easily just walked his way up to River and caught out the Thresh.
Yeah. Do you know what the average soul count is on Thresh? Because I have no idea what's like a good amount of souls.
The problem with souls, okay, and this is, I used to be a Thresh one-trick, right? I wasn't very good, but I was a Thresh one-trick. The problem with them is, the more you get, the less powerful they become.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you just feel useless. It's like, oh, I got 100 souls, or I got 200 souls. The difference is negligible unless you're playing like a Howling Abyss and you're really accelerated, right? So I think we should make it like give more adaptive force or something, I guess. Oh, flash in from Czajek. He looks for the taunt as well. The Winds of War come down. Kamiloo dies! Kamiloo burning his own flash to try and escape, but Czajek just wins out a solo bolo on the bot side.
Big play by Czajek, really important, really shutting this Orianna down now. 2 kills for him. This Galio, who's gonna get tankier and tankier, will be very detrimental to peeling against these Nocturne Orianna combos. And when you play these combos, Nocturne Orianna, you don't really want your Orianna to be behind, because you want that shockwave to hurt.
Yeah, and alongside that, burning Kamiloo's flash is huge. It's another 5 minutes where that mid laner is really susceptible to a gank from Lyncas, a gank from Fleshy. It becomes really hard for him. Even when you get to team fights, he's TPing into one now because we have the Drake going up. The equalizer makes it really difficult for Kamiloo to position. Now, Heretics have gained control over this bot side river first. It's Vitality who have to step in. Kamiloo trying to keep them at bay for now. Lyncas coming in from the side as well. Nako just about to recall. Hit level 11, as you say. Carlsen and down from the top side. There's the paranoia. Drake secured. No engage yet. Nako looking for the flank TP. The quickness coming out. It's a 3-man charm. They taunt up Flakked, but he uses the Moonlight Vigil perfectly to heal up with the Severum. The Lantern back as well. And Vitality are the ones who have to retreat. Carzzy pops the Featherstorm just to survive. For a moment, it looked dicey for Heretics, but somehow they extricate themselves.
That looked very scary. I think the Severum being crucial there for Flakked getting that escape. And as you say, a lot of big circles, but didn't end up finding damage. They really wanted to get a play there because Nocturne ult was down. They thought that they had the combat power. Everyone flashing in. I like that they're all committed to it, but they didn't really have the damage there. It felt like they were lacking just a little bit. If there was a Rumble equalizer on top of that, I think that would be a glorious engage. But Nako wasn't really there to follow up in the beginning, and no one ended up dying.
Yeah, just slightly mistimed. I think Nako's teleport was just finishing as the engage really found its floor, and they couldn't quite get that equalizer down. It would have been huge. Level 11 Leandri's Sorcerer's Shoes as well would have been a crazy amount of damage. But Heretics survived the onslaught from about 1,000 gold lead. They get themselves a dragon, and they did end up picking up the 3 grubs in the end. Now they'll go for that Rift Herald. Would get them the objectives complete from the feats of warfare. Vitality might try and fight this. They do have that equalizer. Hero's entrance up as well.
But they can't contest this. It's so hard sign moving up. Galio's bot. He has the TP, but I think it's going to be too late. The thing with a fight like that is when everyone loses their flash, I think the happiest person in the game is the Nocturne. Because suddenly there are so many easy targets you can go on. If they already used their dash or something, they are just such a clean pick for the Nocturne. It becomes super hard to approach these chokes because you can't go from different angles because Nocturne will just target that guy. So you gotta go as 5 for the short points where the Orianna ball might lie in wait. Very tricky, gotta give up the Herald because of that. And nice objective game by Heretics, really clawing the way back from that dicey early game.
And no real surprises as well from Heretics. They love playing through these early objectives. Second best team in the game for the first Drakes. Where are we in terms of individual gold leads? Well, Flakked is about a K ahead of Carzzy right now. And that must be predominantly through plates because he's only about 20 CS up in that 1v1 matchup. And the cult.
ROI, baby.
Yeah, the ROI paying off. Nako only 550 ahead with the cult having been completed. Did hit his first item spike that a little bit quicker. But the Leandris didn't really do much in that last battle around the Drakes.
As Goldberg said on the pre-show on the analyst desk, he really wants to see Flakked step up as a carry because it feels like Heretics needs one more real threat to really be able to solidify themselves as a contestant or like a competitive team here in the playoff brackets, in the future playoff bracket. And I feel like right now he's doing very well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a mountain to climb after this series, never minding this series, right? KC or G2, your opposition in the first round of the playoffs after this cross-group decider. Sheo and Stend waiting to see if Czajek oversteps, but he has been playing pretty wonderfully so far today. It's about a 500 gold lead, has caught Kamiloo out on a couple of occasions. Fleshy and Carzzy working their way down here. There's the paranoia. Carzzy has the Feather Storm. Fear Tether going out. Will fear him, but he flashes and gets to safety.
That's all you want. You just want the flash on Xayah. Because now, next Dragon fight, suddenly Xayah has to step up without a flash against the Orianna ball, against the Sion, the Nocturnes, the hooks. So many threats on the Xayah, and she's kind of the main damage dealer in these extended fights. Sure, Rumble does a lot of damage, Xayah could as well, but most of your gold is on the Galio. And I feel like without Xayah being able to hit freely, it might be difficult to find those kills, find that last bit of damage if she can't really step up and hit.
Yeah, about a minute before we get towards that next dragon of the game. Mountain Soul is the one that we've been dished up. And it's a serving that I'm sure both these teams would be very happy to collect. I mean, a Sion with a Mountain Soul is going to be incredibly difficult to work your way through, even with the Rumble and the Xayah harassing him down.
Yeah, I think Carlsen so far this game has just been doing his job, man. He's chilling on the side, catching waves, sacrificing himself for the teams, moving to objectives, exactly what he needs to do, and he's having a good game so far, just not really doing much, but like doing his job. And I think that's an important role to have as top laner. You gotta be able to do a plethora of things. You gotta be able to play the Ambessas, the Rumbles, but also the Sions, where you just have a cool, calm game.
Yep. Hasn't lost a tower, hasn't been killed, has been part of 2 kills. I'll take that every day of the week for a Sion in the early game. So, 0 good deaths, very true. But, I don't think Carlsen subscribes to the Baut's philosophy of playing the Sion.
Sweeping the visions, then looking for something here on Flesh's little support ward game. We're seeing
Stend's going to ward across the wall. Gleaming Quill going wide. There's the Oracles invested by Stend. Scuttle Crab up TP coming from Czajek down towards the bottom side.
I really want to see Rumble TP in early this time. I feel like he needs to be there. And right now he's pushing the wave, but this allows them to take a little bit more space.
Paranoia from Sheo immediately onto Czajek. Just try to burst him down as much as possible. He's going to continue chasing though, and Vitality come across the corner. There's the Witness Lantern down as well. The shockwave in. Sheo survives! Lyncas with the Crescent Guard dashes forward and will take him out, but Flakked has made him meet his maker. Crescendum enough. As Flakked kill off the enemy jungler, a 1-for-1 exchange.
Oh, it's a street fight now. Dragon is spawning, but the only one with Flash is, with Smite is Fleshy. Because both junglers are dead. I don't think Heretics can start an objective. He's probably gonna have to restart the map. But big kill onto Lyncas there. Flash burned by Lyncas and Sheo.
We'll have another look at it, because I thought, not here, this is good from Sheo. At this point, it felt deep.
Yeah, he's a little bit... I mean, I think he felt confident because he had the Lantern, but there's a lot of wards on the Lantern. He had to flash out, couldn't really take it, and Lyncas decides it's worth to trade junglers here because he'd probably be in a tough position if he didn't commit there. He might even die anyway.
I mean, it makes sense. If the enemy jungler survives and you go down, then you're giving up both the Artican and the Drake, really, in that situation, as you say.
For sure.
Fleshy does have the smite, but Flakked will be very happy, very grateful for that gold injection, because he's now finished an Infinity Edge.
Look, Nocturne is already up and available because of that CDR. Meanwhile, Lyncas is trying to stack his free Talon Strike to reduce the cooldown on his. Looks like he's going to be able to get it in time to contest this, but this allows Heretics to take a lot of control on this river through the top side. Sheo probably will pull it towards this banana bush, and that's your control you're trying to hold.
You can see how much vision invested there by Heretics just to try and control this bush. Fleshy and that Nako down towards the bottom side. Czajek on a great flank, as you say, with control ward down, though. Will spot him out. Sheo still keeping the dragon aggroed for the moment. Stend steps towards the mid lane to keep Czajek away. Lyncas down to half HP. There's the redemption for Heretics. They just want to top up those health bars, and they do exactly that. Vitality still really unable to get purchase on this fight. Kamiloo looking for the shockwave. Carzzy Featherstorms up, hook from Stend, and immediately the turn comes in from Heretics onto Czajek, who just punches forward. The equalizer down, cool click, Kamiloo and Flakked. Meanwhile, Sheo on the backline's already killed off Carzzy. He's going to burn for it, though. Lyncas diving in. The Crescent Guard won't keep him alive. Through the Heretics onslaught. In the end, a 3-for-2 exchange in favor of Heretics.
But there's no junglers, and once again the Rakan is standing. Okay, they can actually do this Dragon. I thought they might actually put out of it because they were scared of the Rakan, but Rakan probably being too chunked to sneak this. Big objective play from Heretics and great fight. Good marker by Stend on the Galio, hides on the pink board. Czajek getting a little bit impatient, I think he can wait, but he's scared of the Nocturne ult because if he's on mid-wave and Nocturne ult, he suddenly can't join his team despite having that semi-global. And no flash on Carzzy makes it an easy target for Sheo to dive, and Lyncas tries to do what he can on the backline, but ends up being a 2-for-3 in the favor of Heretics.
I mean, also, because the Featherstorm had just been burnt by the Shockwave, right? They know that Carzzy doesn't have those defensive utility abilities to get himself out of the situation. Second Dragon of the game to Heretics, still a very even game between these two teams. 23 minutes in, 400 gold difference between the two. But look at bot lane, look at Flakked over Carzzy, 3-0 with the Infinity Edge, the Lantern down, Stend just out of range as he takes his death sentence to Fleshy. That one probably should have been left in drafts, as Flakked will get the push through mid here. Artican up 4 minutes before the next Drake, but it looks like Heretics do just want to take this mid lane tower down. Unstoppable Onslaught used by Carlsen just to keep Fleshy and Carzzy away.
Yeah, he's just putting his body in their face, trying to get them to walk out of that tower. Probably didn't need to use it, but hey, it feels good to show some presence.
It's like, guys, I'm 0-0-4. Yeah, I've kind of been involved in a lot of the kills, but here's what I can do.
I'm here.
Witness me. 2 items though on Nako for Vitality, 2 items as well on Czajek. Like, they're both strong, just not quite as strong as Flakked is on this Aphelios, and they need the ability to get onto that backline, which is something they have been struggling with a little bit in this
on
game.
The Aphelios gun rotation here. I feel like you're just waiting for the perfect objective guns where you can actually start this Atakan and kind of pull it out, make it a difficult approach. We're going to see a continued bot pressure applied here from Sheo and the gang until they can actually start an Atakan. Carlsen looking for Czajek. These are 2 meatballs. I don't think we're going to see anything interesting here.
What do you mean? Riftmaker Hollow Radiance versus Hollow Radiance Agents of the Legion?
That's a meatball. oh, slick!
Man, Czajek's just so good, so fancy with his feet. But the wave will be cleared out by Carlsen, and Czajek will just accept it with the riveting war. Oh, it's true. A top-tier action here. For Vitality, this is kind of the portion of the game where they begin to come to life. Their early games, pretty disastrous. On average, I think they're about 8th in terms of goal difference at 14 minutes. But when they get up towards 24, they go into the top side of the table, at least in that statistic. We've taught you already today that statistics will lie to you more often than not. So basically means nothing what I just said, and that's important to realize.
0 substance.
I mean, there was substance, it just wasn't good substance, you know?
It was like white bread.
Yes. Hey. Okay, Kamiloo, attack the ward. Attack Kamiloo. Oh, there we go. 50th time lucky, my friend.
Glorious.
Yeah. It's hard, you know? Atakan is this big, scary demon monster. It's going to follow Fleshy as well. Through that Tribush, Sheo can Duskbringer in here to clear out the vision that was just acquired by Vitality. Once again, Heretics with control of the river first. Carlsen's quite a way away from this, does have the Unstoppable Onslaught. Lyncas can look for the engage. Lantern down for Flakked. There's the charm as well. Stend flashes away though. Hook just a sliver wide. As there's the paranoia, Featherstorm comes out immediately. Taunt onto Sheo and he goes down. Equalizer across the gap here as well as Stend has to dash his way away. The chase continues. Nako flashing in with the harpoons. The taunt connects and Vitality have found it. The statistics didn't lie. Somehow, after 25 minutes, they roar to life, and they'll take 4 for none.
There was substance. I mean, what a fight. As you highlighted, Medic, Vitality finally coming alive in this game, finding that crucial engage. Sheo going a little bit too deep with the Nocturne Orianna combo onto the Xayah with Featherstorm up and available. Doesn't find anything, it ends up just being a target. And when your Nocturne goes down that early, you don't have enough damage to kind of combat the onslaught of Vitality. Starting the Baron, I think they're gonna get this.
Oh, they're definitely gonna get it. Let's have another look at this, because you can see what Heretics want to do. It's a, let's just jump onto Carzzy, but at this point you're so split, it becomes really hard to play the fight.
Yeah, and I feel like the fight should have ended when Stend flashes out, but the fact that Nocturne uses ult, I think he gets a little bit desperate to make something out of it, but it's just not the timing to go in. Kamiloo being torched from the back then as well, doesn't really find any follow-up here with Orianna to flash out, and great harpoon there, finds Flakked and gives Czajek the angle to flash forward with that taunt and just clean up this fight.
Yeah, Carlsen, incredibly tanky, but it doesn't matter much when there's no damage behind it, right? You can take your time killing him. As Czajek will get...
I like that. Well played. Orianna from both sides.
Slightly more confident there than the last time we heard him speak on the mic.
So it's going to be a long series. I think they tempered their energy a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't hear any singing in the background.
Yeah.
Kind of let me down.
Game 4, Game 5, it's coming out. I guarantee
We're going to go golden, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hey, so what have we got? We've got Atakan up. We have 8 seconds before the next dragon. Would be soul point for Heretics if they can somehow sneak it away, but the gold leads have swung away from their favor. Vitality now 2.5k ahead. Nako individually 2.3k ahead. He was there before. The big switch, obviously Czajek now 1,100 gold in the advantage, and second item complete for Carzzy as well. Infinity Yuntals, a very powerful combination as Sheo looks for Czajek. Meanwhile on the top side, Fleshy, I think popped the quickness there. Was going in for engage, couldn't quite find it.
There's a lot of pressure on Stend. I feel like if these hooks do not find anything, it's really difficult for Heretics to start something, because if Nocturne goes in the beginning of the fight, it will just get bursted down, because it doesn't have any great targets. There's a Xayah with ult, there's a Xayah with ult.
Featherstorm again, and this is the problem. Every time you do that, the response will be the same. X-Flash away from Stend as he has to back away. Carzzy, though, looking for the Blade Core will land the root. Stend hooks a minion. And the death sentence was for him. Carzzy gets his first of the game. What a kill it was. We'll set them up perfectly for this Drake. They can look for the Atakan as well. The Baron buff remains on them for a minute. They might just want to use that pressure to make sure they crack another tower. Bots tier 1 seems like a prime suspect.
And that's the issue. You usually want to go on their carries, right? But I think the only carry that's realistic to go on with this Nocturne combo is the Rumble right now, because you can't really go on the Xayah. I guess we've seen it 2 times in a row now what happens when you do that. Can't really go on the Galio or the Xayah. They can just ult the damage, and we'd have to find those hooks or those picks on the Rumble, I feel like, or it's going to be really difficult for Heretics to approach these objectives, find any footing in this game. Stend gets his Hex Smash burned, and now it's just an easy route by Carzzy and a sidestep.
Yeah, and it's the problem as well, especially for a support player in this sort of position. When your Nocturne is going in, you need to be there to back him up. But then often you're just left on the wrong side of dodge when it happens. A Paranoia coming out once again. You can see the damage not quite there. Splashy does get killed off in the end. Never mind. Flakked joined the party and shuts down 2. Now the turn back onto Sheo. Dive in from Lyncas into the Crescent Guard. Czajek trying to get onto Stend here, who did hook him in. Flakked, though, doing so much work, and he's taken out by the combination of Lyncas and Czajek. Carzzy here to join the party. Carlsen his target. Lyncas will kill off Stend. Now it's Kamiloo and Carlsen versus Lyncas and Carzzy. Carzzy continues to put the feathers in the back of Carlsen. The dash in from Lyncas. The redemption just in time to heal up Kamiloo. Lyncas missing the win becomes lightning in the end. A 3-for-3 affair.
Ooh, and it's a scrap fest this game. I feel like Flakked did so much at the beginning there. Gets a little bit overzealous. Gets hit by the wind becomes lightning by Lyncas and gives him the gap close there. I think he tried to bait with the Orianna ult, but I feel like Kamiloo doesn't have the damage to do that oomph that you need here. We see this pick going on Rumble. As you said, one of the only targets I think that Nocturne can find. It's a little bit dicey, but here Flakked does so much damage.
Oh, it's the ult, isn't it? Just rips through them with the Moonlight Vigil.
Yeah, and here I think we get a little bit overconfident. Sheo walks up, he gets hit, and Lyncas here is just such a monster with the Crescent Guard. Doesn't take any damage from Flakked because lightning connects onto him, and now it is an easy gauge by the mid-jungle of Vitality.
Yeah, you can see Kamiloo trying to cancel the audacious charge from Lyncas there with the shockwave. Didn't quite time it as perfectly as possible, and so, especially with the Justice Punch coming in on top of it, it would be really hard to stop Czajek and Lyncas chasing down your AD carry.
I would say Carlsen got a big shutdown on the back end of that fight, though. 900 gold on the kill on Czajek now, going to be very rich. When he gets this Randuin's Omen, I think he's going to be very tanky, very difficult for Xayah and Xayah, 2 critters. Not critters like little tiny animals, but crit champions because of the Thunder Sky, and the full crit build by the Xayah will be reduced by that item. I think really clever pickup here by Carlsen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Randuin's overlooked often when you're looking for tanky items, but very good situationally. The issue is though, like, you're 3,500 gold behind. There's a lot of AP damage coming out as well. Like the magic damage from Nako and Czajek is nothing to be sniffed at. The Liandry's Rift makeup, Bloodletter's Curse combination, and Elixir as well for Nako sitting in his inventory. Level 17, 2 levels ahead of Carlsen. Kamiloo also 2 levels behind Czajek. Those solo laners have been struggling, and I think something we all wanted to see from Vitality coming into this cross-group decider series was their solo lanes stepping up more and more. And Nako, I think, has been relatively quiet this game, but has done what he needed to on the Rumble in the face of a Sion, whereas Czajek has had a stormer of a game 1.
Stormer, you couldn't say it better myself there. Gets another flash burn by Kamiloo there while we were talking about it. Once again, no flash on the Orianna, gonna be very tricky for him to step up in this fight against that equalizer, that Rakan ult. He's gonna have to play really far back, and a lot of pressure on Flakked in this fight. So he really has to put out the damage without dying, because if he dies in the beginning of the fight like he did last time, I don't think you have enough damage at the back end of Heretics comps.
So the waiting game begins 20 seconds before the next Baron, 1 minute 20 before the next Mountain Drake. Only third of the game for either of the 2 teams. Vitality with a 3.5k gold lead alongside 12 more petals from the Atakan. It's probably about 1.5k extra gold, so estimating about a 6,000 gold lead or so for Vitality.
Look at Lyncas, by the way. Look at his angle he's going for. He's going all the way around. Heretics might get caught off guard here.
It's very possible.
The Heretics, very awkward position here. Look at where Sion is. He's in big danger here.
Carlsen has the flash, will be knocked up with the 3 talent strike. Lantern comes across the wall and Carlsen is shepherded to safety. Follows the light of the Lantern.
Beautiful Lantern by Stend there. Probably would have to burn his flash if he didn't have that. Let's see. They're trying to get some kind of vision here, because it's really difficult to go through this banana bush right here.
Mid lane play, mid lane play. I saw a couple of pings coming out from Sheo as he looked for the flank, but Czajek has walked away. As you say, no vision right now. As the face check, it means immediate death for Stend. Equalizer alongside the taunt from Czajek gave him nowhere to go. Quickness came out from Fleshy as well. Now Vitality setting up on the Baron. As you say, no vision still for Heretics.
I mean, Vitality, they don't want the 50-50 there. They will probably want to get another fight there or force them to go so deep that the fight is going to be bad for Sheo and Heretics. Shai trying to mark the Nocturne, but Baron's going on very fast.
Paranoia comes out already. Baron gone over to Vitality and they're looking for the fight. Sheo running away. Lyncas is trying to catch on to Carlsen as well, and Carzzy will begin critting him. But Carlsen too tanky to be dealt with the rest of his team still alive. Vitality will happily accept the Baron. 3 minutes on that Baron power play, and the Drake will go over to Heretics.
Yeah, great marking by Czajek there once again on the Nocturne, really making it difficult for him to approach that. Despite having Paranoia, doesn't really find any entrance to get a 50-50 there. Beautiful Baron take by Vitality. Sure, they will get the Dragon and the Soul Point, but in general, a big victory for Vitality. You gotta make sure you get a lot for this Baron though. You gotta have a clean Baron set up, and you want to crack at least one inhibitor, I think, because I think that should be the goal.
Well, they're already pushing in through 2 lanes at the same time. Cannon waves on both of them will make it hard for Heretics to defend. Flakked hovering over towards mid. They've decided that's the more important of the two. The inhibitor, the target here is Sheo has a long flank. Paranoia up in 3 seconds time. Now it's up. There's the Paranoia. Knocked back with the Crescent Guard. They jump onto Czajek, but not really the target you want to go for. Crescent Guard keeps Lyncas alive. Czajek flashing away. Moonlight Vigil just shy of landing that Infernum on everyone. And Carzzy with a good blade caller will stop them in their tracks. The inhibitor did fall. Vitality raised the base to the ground. And now with a 7,000 gold lead and still a minute 40 on this Baron power play. I think Vitality are in, well, they have been for a while, but now truly in command of the game.
Yeah, and now you do the simple play. You play mid-bot. You probably leave your Galio or Rumble on mid. Probably going to be the Galio. And actually, probably don't go send anyone on mid versus Nocturne. You probably just go 5 bot there eventually and try to crack this tier 2 and eventually maybe get the inhibitor. But in general, you just want to secure as much control as you can in the enemy jungle here, because once a dragon spawning, you want Heretics to be super scared of face shaking every single bush. Every single bush could be a catch by the Galio, by the Rakan, and you gotta make them walk as 5 every single bush they want to face shake. And once you get to this dragon, that's where you're happy. And that's if you can burn some ults here to get this tower though. The face checking is tricky for Heretics as well. It's a Thresh or a Sion that has to do it. I mean, you need your Sion there. You need your bodyguard, you need your bouncer. If the Thresh is doing it, we've seen how quickly he gets melted. Not the tankiest of supports, but provides utility in other ways. Mid lane wave, not where Vitality have decided to play. Czajek now on his way across has that hero's entrance. They saw Sheo clearing out the top side wave. And so they realized they had a small window to make sure mid is going to crash alongside it. Baron up for one more wave. Vitality can just be playing for the vision game that we talked about around the Drake, but it's still 2.5 minutes away. They'd want a little bit more out of this Baron if they can find it, but they'll have to go searching. There's the hook from Stend. Lyncas dives in, equalizes onto the backline as well. The quickness coming out, and they find Kamiloo with the quickness. Fleshy doing a superb job as the Paranoia popped by Sheo, but Carzzy makes him go pop. Lyncas goes back in with Moon Comes Lightning and the audacious charge. Flakked trying to put the damage back down, but a stopwatch from Nako stops him in his tracks. Flakked still with that Infernum Severum combination, but just doesn't quite have the damage to work through Vitality. Czajek hooked up, Carzzy stepping forward to make sure his mid laner survives. Oh, Flakked saw the 200 years combo, but the Moonlight Vigil goes so wide. Doesn't end up finding anything. Good hook by Stend, forces that fight, but Lyncas just goes in, and with that Rumble ult, with that Galio ult, he's just so strong. Didn't even burn the Galio ult for that, and now the retake is going to be super difficult for Heretics. As we rewatch this fight, look, the hook lands on the Rumble, but Lyncas insta-punishes and goes deep himself. You can see Lyncas dives in with the Crescent Guard. Kamiloo here almost survives, but great play there by Fleshy to make sure he gets taken out with the quickness combo. Then the dive back in from Sheo. Yeah, there's just too many feathers for Sheo to actually dive there. And here I thought Flakked could maybe do something, but it's going a little bit too wide. Nako tries to flash forward onto him, but it's not going to end up happening much right now. 3 inhibitors taken and on the side of Vitality, and probably going to be another dragon coming in 1 minute. Yeah, I think if that Moonlight Vigil hits, it's possibly Lyncas dead. Nako possibly as well, depending on when his stopwatch comes out, but good play all round from Vitality. They waited, they saw their opportunity with the death sentence coming in,
And Lyncas immediately pounces, and now once again you're just denying as much vision as possible. Get rid of all of this jungle, take everything away from Sheo, who has done a relatively good job farming up on this Nocturne, but we haven't had that paranoia combination with the Shockwave really have too much impact since the early game. A lot of it is which target are you picking, as we talked about. The Xayah pick truly has negated a lot of that power.
Yeah, and this is the problem when you draft Nocturne so early. You give the enemy kind of time to see what you want to do, and they can kind of draft champions into that. We did see the Shao being taken instead of the Vi has a little bit better protection against Nocturne if he goes on him. We did see the Galio come out in a 4-5 as well, a really good target against Nocturne because you can't really go on that guy anymore. And they kind of force you to go onto the side from his behind a little bit. But I love how Lyncas has been playing these fights. He goes so deep every single moment he can find. And he just puts so much pressure on the back line of Heretics, but also pressure on Sheo to get something done in his team's backline to kind of dive. And it doesn't really end up matching most of the times because, I mean, at this stage, the gold is just so detrimentally.
Yeah, that it doesn't work. Your 8k behind is really hard to do too much. The hook goes down and down. Goes Lyncas. Never mind. Unstoppable also coming out as well. Dashes away from Vitality. Czajek goes back in with the Justice Punches. The quickness follow-up. Fleshy very low and has the dash out in the end. Czajek now tanking up the towers with the stopwatch. Will buy himself a second dash. Is back in. But Heretics have held on to the base. They've only lost Carlsen. Vitality have lost Lyncas.
But what are we doing? Dragon is up. This could be sold for Heretics. It could gonna be very difficult to retake that one and look at it a little bit better, but yeah, Lyncas goes really deep once again. As soon as I was praising him, but a little bit of a caster curse there. But still, a lot of gold in the pockets of Heretics now. A lot of super minions to farm, a lot of levels to get. And Baron is spawning in 1 second, I mean. And I think they're gonna give this Dragon and try to get it instead.
Yeah, Heretics have pinged out on this a couple of times. Czajek has TP, but he's 30 seconds away from respawning. Fleshy does have his quickness up about half of its cooldown. There's the Drake. Vitality will get it. Heretics will start up the Baron and see how quickly that melts. Flakked is full of build on this Aphelios. 7,000 on it, now 6. Fleshy has the smite, as you say. Paranoia coming out. Fleshy goes in and Flakked gets it.
Oh, scary, scary.
Sheo didn't use this smite, at least according to the spectator overlay, so Fleshy was within an Aphelios auto, taking that one away.
Wow.
I mean,
can these teams just play normal? Anytime these two teams meet, we keep getting these 40-minute bangers, and they just can't seem to finish the game out cleanly. Vitality makes it a little bit stressful. Still think they should be favored, but getting this Baron buff, that's a lot of gold. And I think especially Kamiloo needs to get his Void Staff, because I feel like he really needs to get more items to actually start doing a lot of damage, because right now it's all Flakked.
Yeah, you can see that. 50,000 damage basically from Flakked. Has sold his boots and bought a Guardian Angel just to try and survive through these fights. Kamiloo still sitting at 3.5 items. Void Staff on its way for him. Czajek's got a Knight's Vow. That's targeting Carzzy, I believe. As Carzzy still just short of that last item.
I think there's,
there's two Knight's Vow.
It's
Lyncas? Yeah, there's one on Lyncas and then Carzzy's is from Fleshy. Okay, that makes sense.
The best friends.
I mean, Knight's Vow is an incredible item, especially if you switch it mid-combat. Yeah. You have the, or just before combat, because it switches on a minute cooldown, but underutilized.
It's a very good tank item. People use battle tank supports, but even as like a full tank, it can be very useful here. Mikhail's coming out against that hook. Burned early though. Next hook might be scary unless it lands on the Carzzy, who has it lands. Big eyes on Stend here. Has to make these hooks land, because otherwise it's just a lantern bot.
Well, there's Kamiloo's Void Staff complete. The inhibitors respawning, 17 seconds on mid, 7 on the bot lane, so we'll have triple inhibs up for the next push from Vitality. 3 minutes on the Drake, and they might just be waiting for a soul fight at this point. You're kind of waiting out that Baron at least for the next minute. You can see Heretics trying to get something done with it, pushing through mid.
See Flakked trying to get his gun rotation up, getting rid of the purple one. I think he has the white one under the blue one, so he does get that red-white combo for the next fight. I think that's very detrimental.
That would be very good for Heretics as they crack through the tier 2 in mid. They're going to keep pushing in here. Now, Nako might just look for the equalizer for a bit of wave clear. Fleshy coming in for the flank as well. Carzzy here to try and bolster the defenses. Still a cannon minion remains for Heretics, and some mites. Carlsen burns a little bit, caught out as well, has to pop the unstoppable onslaught. Lyncas diving in with the crescent guard. There's the equalizer as well across all of them, and Carlsen dives to Fleshy. A 5-man charm with the quickness in the middle of it, but Flakked goes on a killing spree. Featherstorm coming out from Carzzy. Flakked's found 2. The G8 just down. Flakked's found 3, and Carzzy has to flash away. Stend! Just short of the hook, but it's a quadra, only Carzzy remaining, and Heretics from 8k down are looking for the win!
And Flakked steps up massively in that fight. They're gonna take the game here. I don't think Carzzy can hold this. Flakked walks up, they have Baron, he has perfect guns, full items. And Heretics gonna take this game from what? This was your game vitality, you had it in your grasp.
Flakked and Heretics somehow with a pentakill steal the game away from Vitality. Quack, quack, Flakked on form.
Oh my God! Give me 5 games of this! Give me 5 games of these bangers! And Flakked, what a performance! He needed to step up, he needed to be that guy, and he was him.
That was just, I mean, everyone did such a good job protecting him as well, just to give credit to the rest of the team, but what a performance all around from Flakked.